Want to send some healing vibes on this morning to Skip Peete, the Bucs running backs coach. Kind of a scary incident yesterday, Steve. We were at practice, and when I say practice, I use that term loosely because there was no practice. It was a walkthrough, and that's because they had more guys that were hurt than healthy. I'm not making that up. So anyway, they were in the indoor, and it cut it short really fast. We were ushered out of there, and we see all these paramedics, and we're a good ways from some of the coaches and players, but Skip Peete had collapsed, and it was scary. He was awake after fairly immediately, but and talking and alert and all those things, and so they took him to some hospital and had him checked out. The initial report was dehydration, which that certainly can happen. The odd thing was that we were, of all the hot days out there, right? We were inside when this occurred. But I'm sure they'll run a bunch of tests and things like that. But man, you never want to see that. It was, he was kind of, letting everybody know he was okay, but very scary. And so he is okay, and that's the good news. The bad news is it's kind of in keeping with the theme of this team lately. I mean, almost they literally. I asked Todd Bowles this. I go, "Hey, Wednesday's a heavy day in the NFL. Okay, your heavy practices are Wednesday, Thursday. If you still have padded practices, one of those is going to be padded, right? Because you only get 11 during the first 14 weeks, and you know." To go out there and say, and they put this on the schedule. They were moving it up to 10:30, and that it was just a walkthrough indoors. Like that's a white flag, right? That's like we're so hurt, and that's what Todd Bowles said after practice. He goes, "Look, we have more guys hurt than we had able to practice. Think about that.
That is not good.
Whew. I mean, beyond bad, right?
Yes, and you got to go travel halfway across the country
Yes,
to go
yes.
play a game this week.
Against a team, by the way, will have had 10 days off.
Yes, because they played on Thursday night last week.
So their practice, they did have 4 guys who did not practice for them.
Four. I mean, that's nothing.
Yeah, right. Exactly. 1, 2, 3, 4. Josh Jones, DeMarcus Lawrence, and Julian Love for them did not practice. And there's one more. Oh, Devin Witherspoon, corner. For the Bucs, however, this list is incredible. And I guess, the biggest one is Bucky Irving, we'll get to in a minute. But Jamal Dean, obviously Mike Evans is out. Greg Gaines has a pectoral. Bucky Irving, I mentioned. One thing about Bucky, we'll talk about in a minute, not just the foot, also his shoulder. Christian Izzian still has a quad. Baker Mayfield has an extra injury. Remember last week it was the biceps? Now it's biceps/right knee. Benjamin Morrison, hamstring. Sterling Shepard on the report with a foot injury. Tyke Smith on the report did not practice with an ankle injury. And then limited Levante David with a knee. Logan Hall, of course, he's been battling that groin. Hassan Reddick, he left the game. He had a stinger. He was limited with a neck. Tristan Wirfs' knee, which I suppose is just the recovery part of that. And then you had, a couple guys that were full. But, yeah, it's just – I mean, this is a freaking, starting lineup here almost in many instances. So not good when you're, trying to piece it together and go play a really good Seattle team that scores a lot of points and is top 10 in defense. I mean, this would be a tough task going that far against a good football team with, Darnold playing so well as he is at quarterback. So, Sam, on top of that, you have these injuries. There's uncertainty about certain players, much less positions. I mean, look, they haven't ruled Bucky Irving out, and I love the obsession with Bucky. And let me just say this: like every little note that I put out there about injuries, and we talked about the other night, it's gobbled up because fantasy is so big, and that people are just like can't get enough information. So I think Schefter tweeted 3 times about Bucky Irving. It's like, wait a minute, we don't have really that much of an update. We're gonna make sure she's Bucky Irving. has an injury. He's not going to, it's not considered that serious. Thinks there's a chance he could play. Blah, blah. Well, they're not going to know. And I didn't know about the shoulder, but what Bowles said is that if he's not practicing by Friday, then you can expect him to be out. He's a tough kid. Like, he played the whole second half with this injury. He got that hip drop tackle fumble um, that tore up his ankle, or his foot, I should say. And he's been a walking boot, crutches, and that's to keep the pressure off and all of that. But if he throws those things away on Friday and comes out there and plays on Sunday, I'd be very impressed. And maybe not in a good way. I think I would err on the side of caution and say, listen, that's why we have other running back. We have Rashad White, we have Sean Tucker, Josh Williams. Like, there's other good players behind you, and I think for the long haul, you want to make sure you have Bucky. So, but it's not. It's not the time of year, any time of year, but when they're facing the toughest 4-game stretch of their schedule, and they're right in the midst of it. You go Seattle, and then after that, it's home against San Francisco, and then you're on the road at Detroit, I believe. So, really tough games coming up that way until you get to New Orleans after that. But I don't know. And then the knee thing with Mayfield, I think he's fine enough to play. Like, he'd take more than what he has right now not to play. We saw his arm, I thought, was limited last week and a little bit in the warm-ups and things, but okay, he's going to go out there. But I'm not sure when he took the hit on the knee, except I remember in Houston he did. So maybe it's, that's part of what's flaring up right now. So I'm not really sure.
But what you don't want to have happen is your arm's already not
Mm-hmm.
100%, and now your
Right.
legs not either. Like,
Yeah.
that could be a bad combination.
Yeah. Yeah. Just mechanically, right?
Because you could start favoring a different part of the body because this isn't, this, and now, but that part's hurting. And so,
Sure. Sure.
do I think this is probably going to keep Baker out? I mean, we don't know for sure, but probably not. I think it would actually take him not physically being able to do it at all to not play.
Yeah, no, he's going to play, and this isn't like foolproof or anything, but one of the indicators are that when the quarterback, he's one of the few players that has to talk to us every week. When they put the guy up there on the podium, even though he's questionable or he's got an injury, to me, if he goes on the podium, that means they think he's good enough to start. I've seen quarterbacks not be able to talk during the week because there was some intrigue, or if they know he's out, we'd be talking to Teddy Bridgewater. And you ask Baker, "Hey, how you doing?" He's like, "I'm fine." What? Nothing to see here. What? I'm fine. You know, and but we know he's not fine, and nobody is at this point in the season, but some more than others. But Baker will be a gamer. I think Bucky would play if they let him. My guess is they don't. Right, but that's just a guess. I really don't know. I mean, if he gets to Friday and he's out there running around, would that shock me? No. The good thing he has on his side is age. He's so damn young; he'll recover quicker than any of us. So that's a positive. But look, I don't think they should be afraid of playing Sean Tucker. When Sean Tucker had to start, a year ago, and Rashad White was out, he had about 160 something yards from scrimmage. He's a very capable bat. This Josh Williams is a good back. So they have some depth, but you want your best players, and Bucky would be one of those. So you got to figure Godwin's going to be better his second time out. Emeka Egbuka is Emeka Egbuka. He looks fantastic every time he goes. So you still have pieces, right? But man, it's just so early in the season to be hitting this sort of volume of injuries that you can't replace the guys that you replaced them with. It's starting to really whittle down. But that's football, as they say. Also, I had a quick conversation with Emeka Egbuka. Of course, is just off to a terrific start as a rookie. And what's interesting about him is the Bucs going back to Seattle. He has a home in Tacoma, is where he's from, and he's going to be in a stadium on Sunday, which is Safeco Field, across the street. He's not going to be in Safeco. He's actually going to be across the street in Lumen Field, where the Seahawks play. So the facility downtown, these two, there's like a road between them, and that's it. They nearly touch each other as stadiums. And growing up, Abuka was a fantastic baseball player, from what I understand, like really good. And he was obsessed with the Mariners. He once dreamed of playing for them. He won a national pitch hit and run contest at age 8. And as part of that, he got to go see his favorite team and throw out a pitch, a ceremonial pitch, to Felix Hernandez, King Felix, which is, can you imagine how cool that would be as a young kid growing up in Seattle? And so, for him, going back there is kind of neat because there's going to be a Mariners playoff game, and they haven't had one there in many, many a year, right across the street from where he's playing. And, he was asking about baseball and all that, and he was a really good player. But like most high school kids, there comes a point where you have to choose. And he said, baseball just kind of went out of my life on its own. It was kind of meant to be. Um, he loved it. He misses it, but it was just basically, you know, I got busy with football and it made it my choice for me, so I had to say goodbye to baseball. But he's really into the Mariners, still kind of a fan of them. And he just said that, there was COVID was part of the story. I think there, he said there's a bunch of things that went into it where baseball just made its way out of my life. And very religious guy, believes that God put him here for a purpose and all that sort of thing, made the choice for him, which is great. But what a year he's having. And, we talked about, just sort of the attention he's going to get now and that he did get the other day with Mike Evans out of the lineup. I mean, that's an adjustment he has to make. They kind of called that game on Sunday. I thought they let everybody be real too handsy. There could have been a lot of flags thrown for pass interference and things like this or holding. And that crew just kind of let things go. But, Ibuka didn't make any excuses. I mean, he's basically like, hey, you know, when has it not been the case that defensive backs are going to try to hold you? Like, that's just something you have to fight and overcome. And so he wasn't making excuses. But, uh, man, that the catch, if you watch in slow motion, all that catch of the 7-7 yard touchdown, which is nothing but an ad lib scramble play by Baker Mayfield. Those two guys, those two defenders kind of missed that ball by nails, like by fingernails, right? And Emeka is able to concentrate enough to go, have it come through the car wash, and then he, makes the catch on the other side and runs in for a touchdown. So it was a highlight reel play. He's got 4 touchdowns in 4 games. I don't do math very well, but that's good, I think, if you were to maintain that average.
That's
So,
really good.
yeah, I mean, a guy could sit here with 15 tutties at the end of the year or 17 or whatever it is. That would be remarkable. I mean, right now, I think Puka Nakua is leading everything in receiving, obviously, but what Emeka's done in just 4 weeks is pretty remarkable, and especially now, considering he doesn't have Mike Evans to take the heat off of him. He was killing people one on ones, and now he's going to draw a lot more attention. But that's the adjustment you got to make, and he's ready for it. He's not shying from it. He's ready to take on the best corners and safety over the top and whatever that means, right? So, but the kid, he's an absolute stud. Like, if there wasn't much I'm sure about in football when seasons start, when rookies come in, I've never been more sure about a kid that was going to make it than this guy. I mean, first of all, always look at the production that people have at college, and not just college, but like if they're at a small college, they needed to have dominated, right? Like if you go to a smaller school and you want to get in the NFL, and you're an NFL player, it means you were just unstoppable at the FBS level or whatever. Um, but then with somebody like Emeka, I mean, he did it for national champions, right? Like he did it at the highest level and was one of the best of the best. And when you dominate up there, then it's not a hard projection as long as you don't have some, deep skeletons in your closet. It's really not hard to see who's going to be the good players. And he came in here, man, like a 4th-year, 5th-year pro, asking questions that other receivers don't even think of. I heard Sterling Shepard say to me one day, he goes, he asked a question the other day, and he wasn't specific. He goes, I can't remember what it was. He goes, we all sat there and looked at each other like, what? Like he goes, it was so intelligent that like we none of us ever thought of it. And so he goes, he goes, the guy's on a different level altogether. But that's his success. Like you can see it. The good ones, the great ones can translate that from the meeting room, from the film room, go onto the field, go onto the grass against their biggest rival, and then execute it. And that's what he's been able to do as a rookie. So really impressed with him. I mean, if he does this, I don't know who his competition is. I'm sure there's going to be lots of them for Rookie of the Year, but he'll be in the conversation whether he wins it or not. He'll certainly be there. All right, before we get too far and my voice goes all together, I want to get you guys down to Breitling Boutique. You know where that is? International Plaza Mall. You know where that is? Well, you should. It's only the best mall in Tampa Bay, Florida. Not too far from the airport, kind of sandwiched between that and Raymond James Stadium, as a matter of fact. And if you go to Breitling Boutique, go to the center of the mall. You guys know where that thing is at Christmas, right? Jolly St. Nick goes there. Go upstairs. That's where you're going to find Breitling Boutique, and they have great, not good, great customer service. Come on in, find about the beautiful watches, the timepiece you really want, have a drink, get educated. They're going to treat you like a celebrity because you know why? That's what they're used to dealing with. A lot of professional athletes, you name it, Lightning, Bucs, Rays, whatever. They come in there quite a bit. And want to make sure that while you're there, ask about the beautiful watches, the Navatimers, the Chronomats for men, and women's watches. Don't forget about your wife, your girlfriend. These watches are sports watches, and they're durable, but they're also stunningly beautiful. And she can choose herself from an array of different colored wristbands. Breitling Boutique also is celebrating the NFL like nobody's business. 104th year anniversary. They have team watches for all 32 NFL teams, but this is important. It's while supplies last. It's a finite number. When I was there, it's been probably a month now, so this could have changed, but they were not only advertising these watches, they actually had a Buccaneers team watch. I believe a Jaguars team watch was next to it. But you got to go see it at Breitling Boutique, International Plaza Mall. And when you go, let them know you heard about it right here on Sports Day Tampa Bay. So one thing we didn't talk about yesterday, Steve, is the Rays have new owners.
It's official.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody dancing on Stu Sternberg's grave.
Oh, man, careful. At your own risk right there.
Well,
the devil you know, right?
Well, exactly. I mean, everyone's anticipating things are going to get better, that they'll get a new stadium deal, that they're going to spend a lot of money in free agency, that they're going to grow everything. I hope they do. But there's no guarantee of that. Just because you buy a team doesn't mean you have to be a good owner.
No. And we have plenty of proof of that, I mean, I know their intentions are good.
Yeah, you see that throughout sports of raving about new owners is going to be great, and then they flop.
Right.
They don't do things right. They want to make the decisions themselves or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, Eric Neander looks like he's staying on.
For now.
Yeah. That's a good thing. I
think so. Yeah.
Some may not like it, but I think it's a good thing. And so we'll see how this goes. I mean, I do think they'll get a stadium deal done. And it wasn't going to happen. It wasn't going to happen with Stu.
No, because he torched he had us. Here's the funny thing. It wasn't going to happen for Stu because it actually did happen for Stu. I remember the buttons. Rays are here to stay. They had a deal. They had a deal with the city of St. Petersburg. And yeah, Milton came through. And yeah, it caused some delays. Not the kind of delays that would make it impossible to build. But I think that Stuart Sternberg used that incident as, a chance to get out. Maybe what he did or didn't bank on is that Major League Baseball did not want them leaving Tampa Bay, Florida. They wanted this market for the Rays. They did not want them to try to gobble up a potential expansion market instead. And those owners were steadfast. And it was like, well, then Stu's got to go, and they encouraged him to sell. And look, I'm not Forbes magazine, but I can read what they said the Rays were valued at. And if true, the new owners paid about $500 million more than they needed to, right? Like 1.25, 1.3, and they paid 1.75, I think, or something like that.
That's what's been reported.
Yeah. So, I mean, Stu's okay. He might be a little melancholy right now about his selling of this franchise, but Once that check cleared a few days ago, he was really all right. But even having said all of that, and you're right about this, man. Like, and I think those guys look. It's a good group that bought this team, and several of them, or at least one for sure, that's going to be doing day to day stuff, has many minor league teams throughout the country, including the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. I have a Jumbo Shrimp hat, by the way, which I'm not trying to suck up to the new owners or anything, but me and Greg Allman were up in Jacksonville one night. We didn't have anything to do, so we went to. It was like in preseason. We went to a Jumbo Shrimp game, and then we were like, "Well, let's go to the gift shop." And they have the really coolest hats you can imagine. But I digress. And so, I think the first order of business is definitely the stadium. That's what you're going to spend most of your time on. That's what you're going to be working on, and that, quite frankly, will dictate, down the road what kind of revenues you're going to have. Do I think they're going to go out and spend money on Pete Alonso? No, I don't. It'd be a pleasant surprise, I suppose. But I also don't think that they're going to be Sternberg-esque, in that every day is a possibility of your team going someplace else. That's the important thing. They want the team here. They've been in active talks with different sites and making
Well,
different recommendations and
that's the
how they
thing.
would go
I
about
think
it.
the stadium deal will get done
I
because
think so.
you don't buy this team without knowing you're going to get a deal done.
Oh, it's a hell of a risk, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, because baseball isn't letting you move it. You
No.
know that. That's why Stu had to
That's
sell.
why he's gone. Yeah.
But at the same time, it wouldn't surprise me if they're already a long way down the road towards a deal. Like they've been talking to the government officials already. We know that.
Yeah. No, they have.
We know that Zalipsky is tight with Ron DeSantis, the governor.
Yeah.
And we know he's met with Jane Castor and others in Hillsborough County.
Yeah, he's probably had a Commissioner Ken Hagen's on his doorstep a few times.
Yeah, like I'm not saying the deal's done. I'm not even saying they know exactly where, but they already know the kind of the parameters of what they can get help with from government and what's going to have to be privately financed. They have.
Right.
I mean, they don't. You don't spend $1.7 billion and don't have a pretty good idea what's going to happen. Doesn't mean that you know exactly, and doesn't mean there can't be hiccups.
Yeah.
Well, they'll have options, but I think the one that I hear the most about lately is the Hillsborough Community College site across from Raymond James Stadium, which would be interesting because you'd have a hell of a sports complex right there.
You would, and there's plenty of space there to develop some mixed use stuff too. If you
a lot of mixed use area, especially where the Yankees spring training home is right now.
Well, and I wonder if they can move the Yankees out of there. That's the thing that would be interesting. Would the Yankees still stay there?
Yeah, that is interesting, and I don't know the answer to that. But if I were the Glazers, I'd be asking for a tract of land that goes from, MLK south, all the way to Spruce or Boy Scout, whatever that road is. I mean, I would want all of that, and maybe some of it north of the stadium too, because it's the development, the property development, and that kind of lifts all boats, right? If you have a big tenant like the Tampa Bay Rays Stadium or Raymond James Stadium, where there's hundreds of thousands of people through there every week, then your retailers feel like, okay, this would be a good place to have a mixed use store of some kind. I expect that to happen. I expect there to be a lot of development in and around whatever occurs, whether it's the Bucs redesign of Raymond James or whatnot. The Bucs have a lot to do though, man. Like, and not the least of which is where they're going to play when the stadium's under renovation.
What about USF's new stadium?
That's a possibility if the timing is right. That actually would make some sense to me.
What about the Trop?
Yeah, I'm less excited about that one. Not impossible.
You could fit more people in there.
You could probably get about 18,000 or so to configuration. They played East-West Shrine games in there before.
You could go to Camping World.
That's the one.
Far.
Yeah, that's the one I would look at. I would say, and Tampa fans will hate it, but
well, yeah, but it's temporary.
I'm pretty sure that's where Jacksonville is headed when their stadium is under full reconstruction, or I should say, reconfiguration, if you will, renovation. That's the word I'm looking for. Um, I believe Jacksonville wants to play at Camping World, and if I'm the Bucks, of course, it might be first come first serve, but I would be. That's to me, that's more of a Buccaneer territory than a Jaguars territory. To
It is,
me,
but still the closest stadium to Jacksonville
but
is
it's the
big enough, though.
closest to
So
Jacksonville, and I wonder if
that doesn't
Jacksonville
have an
and
NFL team. You're not going to go to Atlanta if you're Jacksonville.
no, 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 no. I mean, the other thing I thought about, well, could they play in Gainesville, the University of Florida?
That's possible too. Yes.
You know what I mean? Because that's just right there. But if they went to Camping World and the Bucks went to Camping World, I guess the NFL could figure out a schedule where one is home and one is away. But I do think that Jacksonville's looking at that, and they're going to need a year, I think, at least to renovate that stadium, and the Bucks will too. And I don't know what season that will be. Could it be next year? Could it be year after? But it's going to be sooner than later.
Oh,
You
you're
know,
still a couple years away.
you think you're 2 years away?
Well, I mean, you got to get the funding first from the county.
Yeah,
It's not going to be privately funded. You're going to ask for a lot of money from the county
you're going to
because
ask
it's
for
a
a
county-owned
ton.
facility.
Yeah,
And they haven't, last we've heard, they haven't even approached it yet. Now, the lease
well,
runs out, I think, in 2028, if I recall.
yeah, they can always get extensions to that.
No,
But
no,
yeah,
but I'm saying, but that's when the negotiations happen. Is okay, you want us to renovate this, and you need to sign a new lease, et cetera, extend this. I mean, that's all part of it, right?
it's part of it. Although you could go ahead and do that now and extend it.
Now, you
I,
haven't worked with
I
the
I'm
county
not
yet on design.
naive.
You haven't worked with the county yet on what you want to change, so you still got to design all that.
Well, and the county has said they've been waiting on plans, but I'm also not naive to think, because I think, you know, when Glazer bought this team, there was, he was an outsider. He had a history of a corporate raider, and there was a lot of distrust. And some of those seeds were sown when, you know, you find out like he had to have a place to go. He bought the team 193 million, was going to work without some bells and whistles in a new stadium. And you find out that Baltimore was his leverage, was a place he was looking to relocate. And then I'll never forget the phone call from Rich McKay when Art Modell decided to move the Browns there. And, Rich he's crestfallen. He's like, that was our leverage, like that's where we were going to go. Never imagining that Art Modell would move a storied team like the Cleveland Browns to Indianapolis. But that's what happened. And, they managed, of course, the referendum. They managed to pass by, 5% or less. And the rest, as they say, is history. Now we're back in there. Now we're back in the stadium game. How soon? I don't know. I think the goal was to keep things really quiet this time, because the last time it became, pun intended, a real political football, and there was some nastiness involved, and they just didn't want that debate again. So I think that behind closed doors, quite legally, I'm sure, a lot of discussions have been had, and you know, I think the city and the county are going to take care of the Bucks, and probably take care of them first, and then everybody else will have to get in line after that.
Oh, do I
Timetable wise,
do I
I don't
think
know.
that I think that there's already been, I don't want to say off the record conversations, but casual conversations about it's going to be this much. Da, da, da. Have the
Sure,
Bucks already started
parameters.
designing some stuff? Yes.
Probably have an architect doing that, because if you're going to renovate, that's a totally different deal.
Right.
And what I've heard about Raymond James is, if you look at it and think about its configuration, it has what they say good bones, right? Like good bones. So there's a chance to expand it. You look at those end zones and the concourses; those could be seats, you know, um, at different levels. Or I think climate control is going to be a big thing. Are they going to build a dome? No, I don't believe so. But could they have awnings or something similar to Miami, where the fans have a break, from the heat over top of the stadium? Yeah, I think there's a chance that something climate controlled is going to occur, I believe, at the new stadium.
Yes. And do I think the Bucks have started designing or putting their wishes there? Yes. Do I think the
Probably.
county has seen those yet? No.
Probably not, because it would have leaked. Somebody would have
And
talked.
like I said, so even if they were to come tomorrow and say, "Hey, we need $1
Oh,
billion,"
yeah.
like,
It'd be
and
months.
it's not getting approved
No.
instantly in this, and the county's going to have its say in what they want to, what they like, don't like, etc. Like
Yeah.
it's at least a couple years away.
I'd say a couple. Yeah. I'd
And,
say that, maybe by the end of the season you hear,
right.
some announcement that they are pursuing a renovation or pursuing
But at the
this or
same
that.
point, the Bucs have a lease that's expiring in 2028.
That's true.
The longer they wait, the more pressure they put on the county.
That's also a great point. Yeah.
And
No,
so
it's a
they're
great
not in
point.
a rush to. I'm like I said. Do I believe that they've started designing or putting wish lists out there and seeing some mock-ups?
Oh,
And
we know
this?
they have. Sure.
Yeah, of course they have. But the county has to sign off on this too. It's not the Bucs ain't privately financing this. They're
No,
asking
not that
for
I'm aware of.
a lot of money from the county.
Yeah. And I think because of that, they've tried to keep things as copacetic and quiet as they can, and it's worked to this point.
Yeah.
But there's going to be a shoe drop. Everybody needs a new stadium, and somebody is going to get that architect and make a pitch and ask for the funding from the state. And
Well, not only this. So I mean, not only is the Bucs need renovations, and the Rays are looking for a new stadium, and USF is building a new stadium.
mm-hmm.
The Rowdies have only renewed for one more year at Al Lang.
That's right.
At some point, they're going to need to figure out where they're going long term.
Yeah. And the Rowdies are now owned by who?
The Rays, Zalipski.
The new Rays owners. Yeah. Correct.
And Benchmark International Arena is going to need some redoing too. It's almost 30
Benchmark
years
needs
old.
help. Yeah.
There's a lot of stadium stuff going on in this community.
It's a ton, man. That's what I'm saying. It's like there's only so much money in that community investment tax, man. The SITs that was passed, and you got a lot of mouths to feed, especially over in Tampa and Hillsborough County now. So how they divvy it up, when they divvy it up, like it's going to be interesting as hell to me to watch. But I think you'll end up with a pretty good facility, not just a stadium with the Bucs. I think you'll see some development opportunities in and around the stadium, whether that's hotels or restaurants, bars, and things like that. And that's what you want. You want people downtown, around the ballpark all the time. And right now, it's just kind of been the spring training home to the Yankees, which they could go across the street and get more of that if they want it. I don't think they're going to do anything with Legends. By the way, did you see how fast they started replacing all the Rays stuff with the Yankees stuff at that field?
Well, yeah.
It was overnight. It was crazy.
Yeah.
It's like, I get it. It's your home. I get it.
They're not paying them for it anymore. Get it down.
That's true. That's right. We deposited your $15 million. Now we want you out. Get out. Get out of our homes. Day baseball in Tampa, Florida. Who thought it, right? And no rainouts, by the way.
Still incredible.
It's just nuts. Even with all the backloaded road games they played, there were still plenty of days they could have gotten rained out, and they didn't. And it's still like 1,000 degrees. We're already, as we're doing this podcast, it's October 1st.
Yeah, we're quarter 4 already.
I mean, have we broken 90 yet?
More than Christmas decorations out yet?
I might as well. It's the only way I'm going to feel like I'm, getting cooler around here. The people in our neighborhood, there's a couple of people, we're big decorators in this neighborhood in Villa Rosa. And there's a couple the other day that had Halloween stuff out, man, everywhere. I was like, whoa.
It's October.
I know it is now, but it was like September 26th when I saw it. But yeah, Rocktober, man, you can do what you want. Halloween's one of my more favorite holidays, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, a little bit. A
Okay.
little bit. I mean, cute little kids dressed up, right?
Yeah.
That's fun. Who doesn't like candy? Okay, number 2. And then number 3 is just like sitting around chilling. There's usually a good football game on that night somewhere, or at least a game.
It's a Friday night this year, so.
Yeah, our neighborhood comes alive, and everybody's out and about, and you get to see everyone, their kids, and it's just, I don't know. It's a little stressful, but it's a pretty good holiday. I think you got to go a long way. Of course, Christmas is great, but to me, Thanksgiving has everything I want. Football, food, family, if you want. But that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really it.
I mean, we've talked about this, but my favorite holiday always growing up was New Year's Day because of all the bowl games.
All the bowl games, that's right.
There were so many of them on that day. It wasn't like now where there's one at a time. Like
No.
at noon and 1, there's like 5 different games going on. And,
Oh, I know.
and back then you didn't have every game everywhere, every time, anytime.
Right.
We're
Right.
both old, so.
Right.
But now that's changed. So New Year's Day isn't the same as it used to be.
No, not with the playoffs. They used to be fun. The granddaddy of them all, the Rose Bowl, was always the Big Ten against the Pac-12. That was always good. It's totally different now. And now they're all playing for championships. It's really all that matters to them, which I get. But the bowl games had their own pizzazz. And it was funny because you'd have to progress during the day and be like, if this happens and that happens, then this team has a chance to be national champions and so on and so forth. The speculation ran rampant, as it will this year. College football this year, there's some teams that I think they're going to have 2 losses, Steve, and maybe they did last year. They're going to be in the playoffs.
Oh, no question about it. I mean, there's you're taking 12 teams, or 11 if you count out the non-power 4 one.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, there's going to be absolutely with 2 losses. I mean, Ohio State last year,
There you go.
I believe they had 2 losses. They weren't undefeated going to the Michigan game. So yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I think they did.
Yeah, 2 losses. The question is, can a team with 3 losses get in?
Yeah, a little tougher.
But it depends on what those 3 losses are.
What's the conference and what are the 3 losses? Yeah. That's going to be key. Hey, is Texas at Florida this week, by the way, randomly, I said?
Yes.
How about that? The aggrieved bowl, right? Everybody's down on Texas and Arch Manning. Everybody's down on the Gators. Somebody's going to come out there feeling much, much better about themselves, because I don't think they could get any lower, to be honest. Even though Arch he's carrying an immense amount of pressure, right? Or is he just not very good?
Well, I don't think we know yet. Like, he's started 6 games in his career?
Yeah, something like that.
Like,
he's just now starting to start against SEC teams, though.
Right. Yeah, but it's his name alone, and everyone overhyped him. And he may end up being that good. He may end up being that good. We just don't know yet. Like, he's 6 games in.
Yeah. Well, it has to affect you if you're human at all. But
absolutely,
man, the expectations were through the roof.
How about College Game Day is at Bama this week for a Vandy at Bama game?
Hey man, don't be knocking Vandy. Their offense is legit.
No, I'm saying it's incredible. I mean, Vandy is good, and I'm not knocking them at all. Who would have thought that? I mean, a couple years ago that Vandy's going to be on game day. Like,
nobody would have thought it. Absolutely no one. It's a great gig for Vandy.
Yeah, it's great. Remember last year they beat Bama and they took the goalpost down.
That's right.
Down Broadway and
to the river.
Yeah, to the river. How many times are they going to show that clip on game day?
Oh God, it's so stupid when you do it too. It's like, seemed like a good idea at the time. What are we going to do with this goalpost?
And then you got Miami, Florida State this weekend too.
That's the big one. Yeah, and College Game Day is not there. Because they've been in Miami not too long ago. Although this game is at Tallahassee.
This was at Florida State.
Right?
Yeah. Yep.
So that would have been a good opportunity for game day to be there, but they're not, unfortunately.
Yeah, had Florida State won last week, I think they would be there.
I do too. They just didn't show up, which was scary. But they'll have Miami's attention, that's for sure.
Yep.
Love those rivalries.
South Florida hosts Charlotte, so they get in the
conference Friday night. Yeah.
Yep. They have a couple Friday nights in a row, I believe. So,
yeah, I'll take the spread and the over in South Florida. I think they won by like 34-5 last year.
Yeah, I think they're like 4 touchdown favorites, I think I heard.
Yeah. So,
27
Alex
and a half.
Goulash and the guys will continue on. I saw Rob Higgins. Congratulations to him. He started his new gig.
Yep.
At the University of South Florida.
That's a big vacancy on the Tampa Bay Sports Commission.
Oh,
God. A huge vacancy.
Unbelievable shoes to fill.
Yeah.
Did so much, brought so much here,
See, SEC Media Days is coming here next year. It's the last thing he announced before he left the role.
You know who's happy about that?
Joey Knight.
Everybody at the Tampa Bay Times. because he can sleep in his own bed and maybe not even charge gasoline and go cover the crap out of it. It's always like a week away someplace. But what better place to have it than Tampa, Florida? That's awesome. That was a good get for sure. College football is starting to get interesting to me right about now. I think we're going to start to see the believers and the real teams from the, just the kind of rabbits that jump out there.
Well, you're in the conference play now, so
And that's how, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So quickly you're going to figure things out. And
Yeah.
now you're starting to get some injuries in this. So who's got depth? Who's got
depth? Yep.
Much like for the Bucs, can they even field a team?
That'd be tough.
So in hockey is less than for the Lightning, it'll start a week from tonight.
That's incredible. And they're at home, right, when they host?
They'll open at home against the Senators next Thursday. So tonight they have a preseason game at home, but against the Panthers. Okay. They're 5-0 in the preseason, by the way.
I noticed that. Now,
First time ever.
How many regulars play? When I say regulars, you know who I'm talking about. How many of those guys actually play in games?
So there's a rule you have to play so many guys with NHL experience a game, but they've not come close to fielding a regular roster. Now they're down to 26 players in camp. Now they sent 7 guys, four of them they reassigned, 3 they put on waivers for the purpose of reassigning. We'll see if anyone claims them, but they're down to 26 right now in camp.
Mm-hmm.
You put 20 out every game, so there's only 6 extras basically, and some of those extras, Vasilevsky is just starting to practice now and isn't playing, so you're really down to 25. Hedman hasn't been practicing lately, so he's probably you're down to 24. Holmberg on Tuesday was wearing a red no contact jersey, so he's probably not playing tonight. So you're down to 23. Dominic James was in a red no contact. He's probably not playing tonight. So really, you only have 1 or 2 extras at this point. Like now, you're getting down to the regulars. But like Tuesday night in Orlando, there was a lot of guys that were not regulars.
Mm-hmm.
There were 7 guys that were just sent down
after that.
They were there. And Florida was not playing their regulars at all that night.
Right.
So now these last 2 games, you're going to see more of the regulars. But
I just wondered how have they. I just wondered how much they have to ramp up, right? Get timing back and things like that.
Yeah. Now what you do is you play like Tuesday night in Orlando. There were some regulars in there.
Yeah,
just wasn't everyone. Like like Kucherov, I think, has played 1 game this preseason so far. Now he'll probably play the next 2.
Mm.
And
all those guys are healthy,
played
right?
1 or 2. Hedman and Holmberg and Dominic James, who probably will be sent down, and then Vazzy. Those are the ones who are not healthy. Everyone else is playing and practicing. And Vazzy practiced on Tuesday, so that's a good sign. I'm guessing he doesn't play tonight. Hopefully, you get him in Saturday's game if you want to get him a preseason game, because that's the last preseason game at Florida. But
is this something that he just recently did training, or is it?
Don't know. He came out the first day and then kind of left, and then they said it was player management. They really haven't said much.
Wow.
Then they said he hoped he'd be on the ice Monday. Well, he wasn't practicing with the main group, but apparently he skated before practice.
Wow.
But then Tuesday he was out there for practice. So
yeah.
Now Eduardo Encina, who was there at the practice, said didn't look like he was 100%, but
maybe that's where I saw the report.
Could just be easing into it too. Like it's his first day of practicing, so
right.
we don't know. We don't know what he has or why he hasn't been practicing.
Mm.
They've been very cryptic. So
yeah, just never a great sign when your main guys are out like that. But
if you remember 2 years ago, he missed the beginning of training camp, and it was kind of like, it's no big deal. And then all of a sudden, a press release came out that he had back surgery and would be out 2 months.
I remember that. Insane.
And, he missed the first 20 games and then came back. Then he came back. He was okay. He wasn't himself.
But yeah.
Now this time he hasn't been practicing. They didn't say much, but now he's practicing again. So, it wasn't all of a sudden here's the release that he's had surgery. So
yeah, it's cleared up, whatever it was.
We hope it is. I mean,
enough to get back out there and start skating again anyway.
Yes. So, but 1 week from tonight at Benchmark International Arena will be opening night.
The bench, is that what they're calling it? The bench?
I'm sure there'll be lots of names like that. So
yeah, there will be a ton of them. Well, my family, no one in there's nothing in this house that gets my kids, my girls, more excited than the NHL. I don't know why, but they're Lightning fans. They kind of grew up, they were impressionable about the time they won all those Stanley Cups.
Yep.
They think this is normal, and it's not.
It was just over 5 years ago they won in the bubble back on September 28th.
Right.
Just past the 5-year anniversary.
Most Tampa thing ever, man. We're Tampa Bay because of it.
Yeah, and the boat parade was created after that 2 days later on September 30th.
Boat created by the Lightning. Many copied.
Yeah.
Only one OG.
The Bucs have copied it, yeah. And
Big
then the
time.
Lightning did it
many,
again.
Yeah, the Lightning. They haven't won that many championships, but the Lightning did. I would submit to you that if the Rays won a championship, they'd be on that water.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's the most Tampa thing ever. Now you're commanded to do it, right?
Well, the Sun did it when
even
they won
the
their
Sun did it. They
championship.
had some ferries out there. Yeah. So there you go. No duck boats for us, baby.
No, I mean now it's been done here, and it's so unique to this area. Like that's what you have to do.
You have to do it. Anything less would seem sacrilege. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't go back to buses on a street.
No. Have fun with it, man. That's what sports is all about. Just have fun with it.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we're about as well. We're also about you getting on down to Breitling Boutique, International Plaza Mall. Check out the men's watches, the Navatimers, the Chronomats. Ask to look at the ladies' watches. These are sports watches, really durable for your wife, your girlfriend, lots of different colored wristbands. And the NFL's 104th anniversary, 32 teams, each have their own Chronomat watches. Get on down there while supplies last. Breitling Boutique, International Plaza Mall. Thanks, as usual, for listening, everybody. For Steve Versnick, I'm Rick Stroud of the Tampa Bay Times. Please go out and have a great day.